Braves, who claim the biggest division lead in the game. From Turner Field in Atlanta, the Cardinals and Braves are next.
It is Fox Saturday Baseball. Matt Vasgersian, thank you very much. They had a sellout here last night. A big crowd on hand for another matchup between two first-place clubs. Cardinals get Matt Holliday back, and whether it's Upton or McCann, the Atlanta Braves in first place in the NL East, and that's your matchup. Two first-place clubs on a Saturday afternoon in Atlanta. And now welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. Eric Karros will slide right in. I can't tell you how excited Eric is to actually slide over to his right and talk to you about two first basemen. But before that, let's talk about Atlanta. They got off to that 12-1 start. There have been a couple of games over 500 since, but they are so free and clear right now in their division in the NL East, while the Cardinals are in a battle with the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Cincinnati Reds, 2.5 games up on Pittsburgh as they play here this afternoon, and here it is. It's kind of sad that your most favorite part of the day is over. Let's talk about these two clubs, and in particular, two first basemen who have been fantastic this season.
Well, they really have. I mean, you look at both of these clubs, and offensively, they've both been stellar, and they've been led by their first baseman. Now, they go about it in different ways, and I'm speaking about the clubs. Cardinals do it, runners in scoring position. The Braves hit home runs, but the similarity are their first baseman. Alan Craig has been doing it all year long, hitting at a .485 clip with runners in scoring position. Freddie Freeman, the most consistent hitter the Braves have seen. We asked Freddie Gonzalez prior to the game, if you needed one guy at the plate, who would you want with the game on the line? He said Freddie Freeman. Both of these guys, young first baseman, dear to my heart. I can't wait to watch them hit today.
Yeah, two guys who enjoyed watching Eric Karros back in the day, way back in the 90s. Play for the Dodgers and the A's and the Cubs, whoever else. It's the Braves and the Cardinals, two teams that met in the postseason last year. Maybe they do it again this year. Baseball coming up next from Atlanta. It's a good matchup on a Saturday. It is July 27th, 82-degree day, cloudy. Hope the rain stays away. And we hope we go through this one uninterrupted. The opening pitch brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. Give you a look at the Taco Bell starting lineup for the Cardinals. Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss. The Braves take the field, and Julio Teheran will take on this lineup put together by Mike Matheny. Matt Carpenter leads off at second base. Carlos Beltran hitting .299 right behind him in right. Then Matt Holliday back off the DL. He's in left. Alan Craig cleans up. Yadier Molina leads the league in hitting. He's batting fifth. David Freese, the third baseman. John Jay in center. Danny Descalso is the shortstop batting eighth. And Joe Kelly does the pitching and bats ninth. And here is Teheran, the right-hander, who has blossomed this season, 7-5 overall. And he is in the category, Eric Karros, of sneaky quick.
He is sneaky quick. You look at the velocity and you say, well, it's not lighting up the gun. But he's tough to pick up at the plate. He's been real good since the beginning of June, a 2.73 ERA. He's had a lot better control. It'll be interesting to see how he fares against this tough Cardinal lineup, because they are grinders at the plate.
Cardinals check in number one in the National League in average, in runs, and on base percentage. And here is the recent series history between these two clubs. In 2011, Cardinals won the wild card after the Braves lose a 10.5 game lead in August and September. You know what happened the rest of the way. The Cardinals won in 7 over Texas, and last year the Cardinals and the Braves, the first ever play-in game in NL history, and it was the Cardinals winning here over Chris Medlin. And a big play in that game was this one on October 5th. The infield fly rule in effect, and all heck broke loose after it dropped.
Yeah, Sam Holbrook made the call here, and I've seen this thing 100,000 times, or it seems like 100,000. It's the right call. I mean, you got to make that call. Cosma's under there. He's drifting. He's right there. And it doesn't matter that he's drifted. Big league player makes that call. It's a miscommunication.
Yeah, I would agree with you. People say, well, you're from St. Louis. Of course you agree.
Well, that's why you agree, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it right there. As you look at what the Braves have done at home, the best in the big leagues. The Cardinals on the road, the best in the big leagues. But where the pop-up was hit, the umpire's got to make a judgment call as to whether it's in the realm of the infield, and the infield fly rule being in effect seemed like the right call at the time. It just looks bad when the ball drops untouched.
Right, and there's some miscommunication, but again, as you mentioned, thought he got the right call.
Matt Carpenter, Carlos Beltran, Matt Holliday, the top three in the lineup for the Cardinals, against Teheran, the right-hander, who was signed as a 16-year-old out of Columbia. And here he is in the big leagues, and he hits the outside part for a strike. Carpenter is fifth in the league, hitting .325. He's got 9 home runs, and his on-base percentage as a number one hitter is .410. So he's taken over the second base position defensively, and he has taken over the leadoff hitter role for Mike Matheny. 2 big spots the Cardinals were looking for, 1 out, as Freeman goes to the bag. An easy play to start the day.
Well, you talk about this Cardinal offense, and the one thing about them that separates them from a lot of other ball clubs, there's no easy out. And everybody seems to have a plan up at the plate, and they grind. Nowhere that there is somewhere where you can say, this is a guy I go after.
Even Cosma started to get hot here of late, so you have to go 1 through 8 when you're pitching against St. Louis. As Beltran had a couple of days off, trying to get him to shake a little mini slump. He's hitting .299, 19 home runs, which is 7th best in the National League. Here's a 1-0. Strike one.
Well, you talk about those days off. Mike Matheny telling us that Cardinal guys are going to have to get some time off. They're in a stretch right now. 21 games in 20 days. Their next off day is not until August 12th.
See where the average runs, on base percentage, runners in scoring position. Mike Matheny really credits as a changeup has Beltran fooled for strike 2. Mike Matheny credits first year full-time lead guy hitting instructor John Mabry, who is backed up and assisted by Benji Molina, Yadier's older brother. Did a good job helping this lineup become tough outs as the count goes to 2-2.
Well, and the philosophy, be aggressive early. When the pitchers are in the zone, be aggressive. And when you get 2 strikes, you have to make an adjustment. Don't continue with that aggressiveness. Make some changes and battle.
Carpenter grounded out. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Beltran with Matt Holliday on deck. And Tehran is just daring Beltran to step out, and he doesn't. And he misses inside, ball 3. There's Matt Holliday, who went on the disabled list. They were able to backdate it, got hurt in the final series prior to the All-Star break in Chicago. Here's a 3-2 and a ground ball to Uggla's right. Nice backhanded stop, 2 out. Give a look at the defense for Atlanta. You know, Uggla plays second base. He can slug and showed some range there. Evan Gaddis is in left. Hayward is in center while B.J. Upton is out. BJ's brother Justin is in right with Johnson, Simmons, Uggla, Freeman on the infield. McCann does the catching for Tehran, who has retired the first 2.
Yeah, Uggla does a nice job going to his right, stays down, gets his balance, and makes a strong throw to Freeman. Not known for his defense, obviously the home runs.
Here's a pitch that has Holliday off balance. Long run. Gaddis will not get there. And a foul ball, strike 1. Here's the injury that hit Matt Holliday on the Friday before the All-Star break on July the 11th, and he pulled up going down the line, and that was it. Cardinals sent out Brock Peterson, who is to this point a career minor leaguer and a great story, who came up and gave the Cardinals a right-handed bat off the bench. He has been sent back to AAA Memphis. Here's an 0-1 pitch. That is into the corner. It is a fair ball off the wall, and Holliday gets to test that hamstring early, and he's safe as Uggla dropped it. Throw beat him. Uggla rushed it, and Holliday's at second with 2 out.
Well, Holliday not wasting any time, comes right back up, gets a base hit, and he's stretching this thing into 2. Gaddis makes a nice play in left field. You don't think of Gaddis as a strong left fielder, but he's out there, does a nice job of getting the ball into Uggla, and he just tries to hurry that tag, never had the ball. It's a nice play by Gaddis. Kind of handcuffed him a bit.
Goes down as a double. Gaddis, who is a catcher, and they're kind of cramming his bat into this lineup in left, was there to make the play, but Uggla couldn't hang on. Now Alan Craig, and this is where he is at his best. A strike is in to a guy who is hitting .485 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous, and we're talking about a pretty darn good sample size. We're not talking about 10 at-bats and 4 hits. And these hits are, it's a lot of singles. It's a lot of just taking what the pitcher gives you.
That's outside. Alan Craig has the 3rd best RBI total in the league. And you look at the number that Eric highlighted in the open. Since 1974, the best average with runners in scoring position belongs to Alan Craig, on top of a list that was previously topped by George Brett. Here's a 1-1. You got Brett, Gwynn, Ichiro, guys like that on this list, and Alan Craig is better than any of them. 2-1. Yeah, don't forget about Paul Molitor. So Craig now up on the count, 2-1. Typically a guy that likes to jump on the first pitch, and he's been very good when he's done that this season. He backs out as Tehran steps off with a count 2-1. Trying to get a lead for Joe Kelly, the 25-year-old right-hander who will make his 4th start of the season in the bottom of this first inning. Here's a 2-1. 3-1 with the league's leading hitter, Yadier Molina, on deck.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't get any easier. You've got a runner or open base at first. You could pitch around Craig, but then You've got Molina, as you mentioned, the league's leading hitter. He's hitting close to 400 with runners in scoring position. Again, that's what makes this offense so tough. There is no easy out.
So with 3-ball, 1-strike count, and we'll see how daring Tehran wants to be here in the first inning with Craig, and he walks him on a pitch up and in. So the Cardinals welcome Holiday back to their lineup. He doubles with 2 out. Could have been out of the inning with a solid tag from Uggla. Now a walk. And the league's leading hitter, Yadier Molina, steps in with 2 on, 2 out. That average, by the way, among Cardinal catchers all time is the very best if it would hold up. Ted Simmons for a season hit .332 back in 1975. Switch hitting catcher with the Cardinals. Now with 2 on, 2 out. Molina takes ball 1 outside.
Well, just what you said right there. You look at that average, and this is a guy that has made himself into an excellent hitter. Early on in his career, was not known as a hitter.
There's a 1-0. Broken bat caught by Tehran, and the inning is over. May not have made it through the infield anyway, but Tehran out to grab it, and the Cardinals lead 2 in their half of the first. That's the way the top of the first ends. Atlanta coming up against Joe Kelly. No score. Cards and Braves. For the Braves, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Jason Hayward will lead it off. He's in center field while the team waits for B.J. Upton to come back. Then it's Justin Upton hitting .249. Freddie Freeman, an all-star, but injured at the time. Evan Gaddis in left. Ryan McCann. Dan Uggla, Chris Johnson. Andrelton Simmons is the shortstop, and Julio Tehran is the pitcher batting ninth. And that group is taking on the right-hander Joe Kelly, who makes his 4th start, 1-3 on the season.
Got a real live arm. It'll be interesting for me to watch today if he has the control. He has not thrown in a ball game since July 12th. We asked Mike Matheny prior to the game if that was a concern, and he felt like it wouldn't be, in that he's gone stretches before where he hasn't thrown.
So the Braves came off a 3-4 road trip. They lost 2 of 3 at the White Sox, split a 4-game set at the Mets. But they come in with a record of 58-45, an 8.5 game lead over Washington in the NL East. Phillies are 9 back. This Atlanta team is the toughest to beat at home. They won last night 4-1 behind Mike Minor. Adam Wainwright took the loss. Here's a first pitch fly ball into the corner. Holiday is back to grab it with a couple of raindrops falling, one out. Thought it was interesting to listen to Mike Matheny talk about Joe Kelly and say something that would seem so easy, but I guess it's not when you're getting a chance to start. It's what Joe Kelly wants to do, but trying to do too much as a starter as opposed to the kind of stuff he brought with him when he was working out of the bullpen.
Well, and it's obviously a different environment when you're coming in the middle of a game. Not a lot is expected of you. You just hold the game down. You know, the starters either got into trouble or, you know, needs a bit of a break. Here, you're the starter. And there is that adrenaline, and there's something else. He's throwing for possibly that fifth spot.
Just a 175-pound guy, 6'2". But he can light up a radar gun, as the number 2 hitter has taken 2 95-mile-per-hour fastballs for strikes. That's Justin Upton, who has had a rough go since the end of April. Got off to a great start after that trade from Arizona, playing with his brother, who has struggled even more and now is on the disabled list with an adductor injury around the groin area, and they hope to get him back soon.
Well, that's what's amazing when you look at this Atlanta ball club, both the Upton brothers and Jason Hayward. At the beginning of the year, you thought this could potentially be one of the best outfields in many years.
Here's a little fly ball into right, easy for Beltran. 2 out, and that'll give Eric Karras a chance to give us our 4 keys to the game.
Real important stuff, Joe. Don't miss it here.
Yeah.
Cardinals right there. You got to keep it in the ballpark. They're the stingiest in giving up home runs. The Braves, they lead the National League in hitting home runs. The Braves have got to keep the bases empty when Alan Craig comes to the plate. Now, they dodged a bullet in that first inning. But again, the team's so good at hitting with runners in scoring position.
Here is Freddie Freeman. He is their one guy who has thrived in that situation, runners in scoring position. Hitting .425, overall hitting .303. 65 RBIs, good for 7th in the National League, and he was voted in online as an all-star. His account goes to 2-0. There's never a bad time to have Ken Rosenthal on your crew when you cover a Saturday game, but there are certain days that are better than others, and today, as we lead toward the trading deadline, it's a good day to have Ken Rosenthal with us, and we'll check in with him quite a bit during the course of the afternoon. His account's gone to 3-0, as these two teams are 2 first-place clubs, but should not be satisfied with their rosters as they are, and will likely dip into the trade market. There's a strike, and the count 3-1.
No, just generally looking at both of these clubs, they could absolutely each add a starting pitcher. Tim Hudson going down the other day for the Braves leaves a void.
That's a 2-out walk. Freeman is on with Evan Gattis coming up. And the reason why I went into that is because you talked about Kelly, who could fill a role for the Cardinals. They don't know about the total innings effect on Shelby Miller. Lance Lynn's coming off a win, but had 5 bad starts prior to the win his last time out against Philadelphia. There are some question marks in the rotation for even the Cardinals, despite having the best record in baseball.
Both of these clubs, and look at these teams, for me, are both built for the season. I'm not so sure either one of these teams are built for the postseason. I say that you need a solid 1 and a solid 2.
Here's Gattis. Among rookies, he is number 1 in baseball in home runs and RBIs, and he got jammed a bit. John Jay is there, and it's a scoreless first inning in Atlanta. Cardinals left 2, Braves lead 1 into the second. With Freeze, Jay, Descalso coming up, no score. Today's telecast presented by Taco Bell is sponsored by Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost, fuel economy, and a whole lot more. And by Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss. Chevrolet is the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. They're celebrating a new season for new memories, for your chance to win a community field makeover. And an all-new 2014 Impala. Visit ChevyBaseball.com. We go into the second. It'll be Freeze, Jay, and Descalso. If anybody gets on, the Cardinal pitcher, Joe Kelly, with no score. The Cardinals got a double and a walk, and Yadier Molina lined out to Tehran, the right-hander, who brings home his first to David Freeze. Strike one over the inside corner. Freeze has had the pilot light go out on the power. Only 5 home runs, 34 RBIs. His average has been climbing since a rough start to the season, but the power has been lacking as the count goes to 0-2.
It just hasn't been there offensively this year. And as you mentioned, swinging the bat a little bit better, but one of the few guys not hitting over 300 with runners in scoring position, hitting at a 220 clip. And, offensively, they hope for more.
He waits for an 0-2 from Tehran, the right-hander. He misses outside with ball one. Well, we've talked about it before on these games of the week. You've got David Freeze at third base making some money now. You've got Matt Carpenter, who's forced into this lineup at second base, typically a third baseman. Here's a 1-2 pitch. That's just inside 2-2. And then you've got Colton Wong, a former first-round draft pick, playing at AAA, hitting over 300. He's a second baseman, so you start doing the math. And even though he's a hometown hero for the Cardinals, who knows what the future holds for number 23, who's jammed and pops up to Simmons. 1 out. Matt Vasgersian is standing by in the MLB Network studios. All yours.
Joe, out west, Angels and A's. Josh Hamilton, only 4 home runs since June 18th, make it 5. He gets to Tommy Malone in the second, and the Angels will need all the offense they can get, with Albert Pujols leaving the team today to have an MRI performed on his ailing left foot back in Anaheim. 1-0 Angels. Joe, back to you and Eric.
All right, thank you, Matt. So that's news to St. Louis fans watching this game, that Albert Pujols left the club today out in Anaheim, as this one misses outside to John Jay, ball one. For Josh Hamilton, home runs at this point could fall into the category of so what. I mean, it's so late in the game after year one that a handful of home runs, the RBIs down for a team that started the day, 11 games out in the West?
Yeah, and with the expectations that ball club had coming into the year, it just makes it that much more frustrating. And Pujols all today, going to get his foot checked on him. And regardless of what that MRI says, he's not the same player anymore, and he's hobbling around. Josh Hamilton it's been a nonstop struggle, and you just wonder, he's so streaky. Is he ever going to regain that form that he had in Texas?
Well, it's year one of a 5-year deal. The Angels have to hope so. As Jay flies out to left, Gaddis is there, and with 2 out, nobody on, here's Descalso, who is hitting .270, which doesn't sound like much, except that he got off to an extremely slow start. He's hitting .333 since the 12th of May. And he's getting more and more time at shortstop. Took a strike. And now with 2 out, nobody on. Hits one in the air into right. Back to grab it is Upton, and Tehran off to a good start. Down go the Cardinals. 1-2-3. Who's coming up? McCann, Ugla, Johnson for the Braves. Bottom of the second, no score. some of the sights and a little bit the taste of the sounds from Turner Field here in Atlanta as we go into the bottom of the second inning. It will be McCann, Ugla, Johnson. You mentioned losing Tim Hudson. What a huge hole to fill, both on the mound and really in the clubhouse with what he means as a leader for this Atlanta team. I know he's at Piedmont Hospital. He's watching this game.
Watching the game, and again, you're not going to replace a guy like Tim Hudson. There's no way you can do it. And he may mean more in the clubhouse than he does out on the mound, but he was the Braves' #1 guy, and I'm not so sure that, maybe a Jake Peavy is similar, but what the respect he commanded in the clubhouse, can't replace it.
Reminds me we have to talk to Kenny, who's down there just chomping at the bit as McCann takes a strike. Hudson had been hot, 8-7 overall. You saw that record, but a 2.73 ERA over his last 10 starts. The Braves get Brandon Beachy back, 13 months off Tommy John surgery, and he'll take Tim's spot on Monday. But the one thing Hudson had that others really don't in this rotation is postseason experience. And having that lead guy is such a difference maker for a team as good as Atlanta. That's where they're really going to miss him. Here is a little floating base hit into right, and one of the best two-strike hitters in the game, McCann, just stuck the bat out, reached and got it for a leadoff single.
Well, you mentioned one of the best two-strike hitters. With 2 strikes, he's hitting over 300. Brian McCann has been on fire for about the last month and a half. Remember, this is a guy that came back late, recovering from injury. In just over 200 at-bats this year, he's got 13 home runs. On-base percentage of .370. Braves are going to have to wonder, do they re-sign him?
Well, a guy who has proven that he will play hurt, give you all he's got. And after coming back from that shoulder injury, as you said, he's been productive. He's on for Dan Ugla. I keep teasing him. I see him down there. Kenny's got his bow tie on. He's standing up in the way of somebody behind him down near the dugout. We need to go there. Here's an 0-1, a little fly ball into right center, cutting to Beltran. Perfect time to talk to Ken Rosenthal, and let's figure out. You think either one of these two teams is legitimately in the market for starting pitching?
Joe, they're legitimately in the market. The question is the market good enough? And the answer to that probably is no. We're talking about 3 pitchers known to be available right now. One of them is Bud Norris. Never pitched for a contender, might only be a number 3 or 4 starter. You guys mentioned Jake Peavy. Great idea, great leader, but he's owed $24 million still, has a history of injury, and the White Sox are going to want a significant return. And finally, there's Irvin Santana, potential free agent at the end of the season, so he's a rental, and the Royals' price is high.
Okay, so there are those 3 guys, but it seemed like yesterday the name Cliff Lee, Ken Rosenthal, popped into the market. And if Cliff Lee is out there and he can be had, to me, I know it may cost a lot prospect-wise. You have to hope the Phillies eat some of that money. But he's the one guy that if you're the Cardinals or the Braves can be the big get-me-over-the-top difference maker. You agree?
Joe, I totally agree, but I don't believe that the Phillies are going to trade Cliff Lee. Last night they signed the Cuban right-hander Miguel Alfredo Gonzalez, 5-year, $48 million contract. They want to retool around Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels, Gonzalez, Kyle Kendrick. Obviously, anything can happen in the next 3 or 4 days. We know that, but I would be surprised if they traded Lee.
Chris Johnson, one of the league's best hitters, adds to his 4th best .329 average. And it's 2 on with 1 out here in the second inning on hits by McCann and Johnson, with Andrelton Simmons coming up. Today's telecast is sponsored by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. Joe Kelly in a bit of a second inning jam with Simmons digging his way in. Tehran, the pitcher, who has 8 hits, will follow as Atlanta tries to jump on top here in the second.
Well, we mentioned it at the top of the show. One of the struggles for Atlanta has been hitting with runners in scoring position. Simmons really the epitome. 89 at-bats, hit 191. That's no bueno. not too good right there.
For the young man from Curacao, 240 overall, 11 home runs, and that's been a bit of a surprise. And whereas going into last year, that job was wide open, Simmons has taken it over and proven to be very good defensively. Batting with 2 on and 1 out, trying to put Atlanta on top here in the second. Joe Kelly's 0-1 pitch. Ball and a strike.
And just to give you an example of the contrast between the two teams, the Braves have one hitter that hits over 310 with runners in scoring position, just one. The Cardinals, on the other hand, only have 2 that hit under 310. Did you get all that?
I did. Well, now I got it. 2 on, 1 out, 1-1 pitch. Had him off balance and a pop-up. Foul territory. Freeze has a play. 2 out. And that's a big spot in the National League lineup with the pitcher batting next. 2 on, 2 out.
It really is. And again, Simmons he's been at the top of the lineup. He's been at the bottom, and he just hasn't, he hasn't hit as they feel he can. I mean, defensively, he's been great, but take a look at this pitch. It just really hangs. It's over the middle of the plate. He's frustrated.
He's frustrated. Kelly has to think, all right, I just hung
Got
a pitch.
away with one.
I got a big out. And for the most part, Joe has been relying on his fastball to get outs. The secondary pitches have not been as crisp as he fires a mid-90s fastball for strike 1 on Tehran, who is 8 for 39, so he can swing it a little bit. He's got 1 RBI, and he's got 2 on, 2 out.
Well, and this was the same situation last night. The second inning, Braves pitcher Minor got a 2-out base hit against Wainwright. Cardinals don't want to see that happen again today.
Here's an 0-1. Slapping at it, strike 2. Braves have Paul Maholm, who is not currently on the disabled list, but is slowed with a sprained left wrist. He's a left-hander, and he's really struggled in July. They have Alex Wood, who's made 2 major league starts in their rotation. They're hoping for good things out of Brandon Beachy when he comes back on Monday. They've got Tehran, and then last night's starter, who is really blossoming, Mike Minor. 10-game winner, 10-5, and he went 7 last night against a good Cardinal lineup.
Yeah, really kept him off balance, and like I said, had that big 2-out RBI hit.
We have to hope, and I believe it'll come through. We'll talk to Mike during the 4th inning. Day after he won his 10th of the season, as the count has gone to 2-2 on Tehran. This Braves team has spent 116 days in first place. They are running away with the NL East. Here is a 2-2 from Joe Kelly. Ground ball to Carpenter's right. He'll go to first to end the inning. And now the Braves have stranded 3. The Cardinals have left 2. No score after 2. Back after this from your local Fox station. Saturday baseball presented by Taco Bell. Why don't we give you a little look at how the division leaders have gotten to this point? The Braves, 116 days in first. The Cardinals, 95. The rookie starters, great for St. Louis. Cardinals good with runners in scoring position, the best in the game. And for Atlanta, as you mentioned, they lean on the home run ball, and their team ERA is good. Their bullpen ERA is the best in the league.
Yeah, really two great teams. Now, the question is, can they sustain those numbers for the next 2 months?
Here's Joe Kelly. He takes ball one. If the ultimate goal is to win the whole thing, win the World Series, it's a second season. And for the Braves, as you said, and I think it bears repeating, these are two teams that are built for a 162-game season in a short series in particular, but in any postseason series. Is the pitching going to be good enough to give them a legitimate chance, really either one of these two clubs, to win it all? Here's a pop-up, shallow right. Upton is there, one out. And that's now 5 straight retired by Tehran, and we go to Matt Vasgersian for a game break.
Joe, the Nationals began the day losers in 12 of their last 16, bottom of the second, and on consecutive pitches, Ian Desmond and Denard Span say enough of that. Back-to-back home runs, the first home runs allowed by Dylan G in his last 5 starts. It's early in D.C., 2-0 Nationals. Back to you and Eric.
One of those two teams goes down in my book as the biggest disappointment in 2013. And it was the team wearing red. Here is Carpenter. He takes a strike.
Yeah, Matt just said it's early in Washington, but it's late in the season. And that's a team that, beginning of the year, I thought definitely was going to go to the postseason, let alone probably win the World Series. And you're going to have their work cut out for them just to be playing in October. And so many things have gone wrong.
Let me ask you this. If they could do it over again, you think they would have shut down Strasburg like they did last year?
You know what? I don't think they would have, just because they went in there with a long-term plan, and they weren't going to go with the short-term excitement, which would have meant postseason. Even if they get to the postseason, which they did, it doesn't mean that if Strasburg was there, they go to the World Series. You look at the way they lost, Strasburg probably makes a difference.
2 balls and a strike with 1 out, nobody on. I know Kenny Rosenthal well enough to know his thoughts on this. Here's Simmons coming in, backhands it anyway, and gets the out, 2 down. What do you think, Kenny? You think if they could do it all over again, they shut down Strasburg when they had everything cooking last year in Washington?
No, they do the same thing. They were adamant about it, Joe, and they, to this day, believe that they did the absolute right thing for him, for the franchise. But the flip side of what Eric said is, hey, you never know if your chance is going to be that good again. And you look at them this year, they haven't hit for whatever reason. Their bullpen hasn't been the same. Overall, they haven't played as well. And here they are looking at what might have been.
If this is caught, Kenny, you throw us to break.
Let's go to break. 3 outs, nothing.
Braves. That means Hayward, Upton, and Freddie Freeman. Anybody gets on, Evan Gattis. Joe Kelly heads back to work. He got around 2 hits in the second, including a leadoff hit by McCann, a 1-out hit by Chris Johnson, who's been red hot since the 3rd week of June. Here's Hayward, hitting .223. He takes a strike, and he did not like the call. Jason had a home run last night, his first in 20 games. Struggled at the start of the season, does not get his arms extended here, and Holiday is there for out number 1. Matt Vasgersian is working harder than us. He's got another game break.
Joe, it's that Nationals lineup that's working hard. They're starting to make some real noise against Dylan G. Bryce Harper, 2-run home run. He returned to the lineup after hurting his knee in Game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday. Side note, Dylan G. had allowed 2 runs in 3 starts previously this year against the Nats. Already has given up 4 early on today. Back to you and Eric.
All right, thank you, Matt. With 1 out, nobody on. Here is Justin Upton, who flied to right his first time, and he is fooled on that first pitch from Joe Kelly. It has to be pleasing for Mike Matheny, who we hope to visit with at the bottom of the inning, to see some of these secondary pitches getting over the plate and fooling some of these Braves hitters, as that one skips in there for ball 1.
Well, this is a good team to pitch against for Kelly, just because the Braves are free swinging. But Kelly's got nasty stuff, and you talked about it. He needs to have his secondary pitches to do really well, but again, this Brave lineup can be pitched to.
Here's one inside, driving Upton off the plate, 2-1. Cardinals are in Game 2 of an 11-game 3-city trip. 5 at the Pirates coming up after this. There's a strike, and the count evens 2-2.
Well, and you mentioned the 11 games. That's 11 games in 10 days. And that's Cardinals, Braves, Pirates, and Reds. That's not a lot of fun right there.
Including a doubleheader on Tuesday when the Cardinals will bring up a starter from the minor leagues. 2-2 pitches high. 96-mile-an-hour fastball and a 3-2 count. On deck, Freddie Freeman. Here's a line drive base hit into center. Off the bat of Upton. He's on with 1 out here in the 3rd inning. And that's good news for Atlanta with the hot bats of Freeman and Gattis coming up, as Atlanta tries to get on the board first here this afternoon. The series wraps up tomorrow night with Shelby Miller, the right-hander, coming off a 4-1 win over Philly, taking on Chris Medlin, who has struggled. He's coming off a 4-1 loss on Tuesday at the Mets. 0-3 over his last 3 starts. 1 on, 1 out. Freeman takes a ball outside. You're a Dodger guy. Were you A, shocked that Freddie Freeman won that online vote, and B, disappointed that Yasiel Puig was not on the All-Star team?
Well, you know, whether or not I'm a Dodger guy,
I know. Whatever.
I would have liked
a Cardinal guy. Everybody's somebody.
You know what, though, as a fan, I would have liked to have seen Puig, just because he's exciting, and as a fan of the game, I wanted to see him in the All-Star game.
Bad bounce, but a double play ball, as it's beautifully turned by Descalso and Alan Craig. And we'll sail into the 4th inning. What a good pickup. Both by Descalso and Craig. Double play ends at no score after 3 in Atlanta. Kelly loved it. 4th inning coming up. multivitamin of MLB. And by T-Mobile, now your choice is simple. T-Mobile, unleash. Mike Minor unleashed a big hit in last night's 4-1 win as he went to 10-5. This game moves into the fourth inning, no score, and the 25-year-old left-hander of the Braves, Mike Minor, joins us from the corner of the dugout as Matt Holliday leads it off. He doubled his first time, takes a strike. And Mike, how is life as a 25-year-old left-hander the day after you win a big game on a Friday night?
It's great, especially we had an afternoon game, not a morning game, so that's always good. Got my work in and get to watch Julio deal.
I bet there are kids out there that wonder what your work consists of after you throw however many pitches it was last night. What do you have to do the next day?
I usually start off with a 30-minute run. Lately, I've been a little bit more sore, so today we went in the pool and kind of did running in place with the current against you to save the legs a little bit, take the pressure off the knees and everything, and did that for about 30 minutes, and then go do a leg workout. Anything between squats or lunges, do some core, some calves, band walks, and then a little bit with the arm care.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Holliday, talking to Mike Minor in the dugout. Holliday strikes out, and Mike, as you said, the right-hander out there, Tehran, is really dealing here this afternoon. Looks good.
Yeah, he's looked good. I think pretty much all season. He came first couple of starts were a little rough, but he's doing a much better job than I did last year coming in here. It took me a whole first half to kind of figure out what I was doing out there and get comfortable, and he's stepping in right here. This last couple of weeks, last couple of months, and doing a great job.
Here's Alan Craig. He can't hold up. Strike one.
Mike, you look at this Cardinal lineup, and they're first in offense. They're top of the average. They score runs. You made it look simple last night. I mean, what did you do, or how do you keep a club like that off balance?
Well, it wasn't simple. I felt like I was really working out there. Watched video before the game. Me and Mac went over it. We really had a game plan going into it that we wanted to establish both sides of the plate. We thought their approach is they have a very good approach with the opposite field, and especially with 2 strikes or a man with in scoring position. Everybody's seen the numbers, and that's what everybody talks about, their approach and how they never give up at bats. And we wanted to establish both sides, so they had to respect all my pitches. And that's what we stuck with. We threw cutters on both sides, changeups on both sides, try to elevate the fastball a couple times. Threw some curveballs in there for strikes and try to bury them for balls. Threw some changeups off, and I got Yachty hit that changeup, first pitch changeup, which is kind of a pitch you don't really know if you should throw it or not first pitch, because especially the guy hasn't seen anything yet. He hasn't really timed up your fastball or anything, and then you throw that first pitch. It's kind of one of those pitches where it's either got to be off or got to have some movement on it, and that was kind of flat. Took it center off.
Counts 3-1 on Alan Craig after the strikeout of Matt Holliday with the aforementioned Yadier Molina on deck, and that's fouled back to the screen. 3-2. Everybody talks about how good Molina is with good reason, but I look down and I see Brian McCann down there. You mentioned him. He looks like he'd be a fun guy to throw to, and the kind of catcher that you just know as a pitcher would run through a wall for you.
Oh yeah. And he comes out there with a game plan too. He helps you out. He's working with you the whole time. You go in the dugout and after an inning, and he's pumping you up. He's fist pumping you. He's telling you to keep it going, work hard, outwork that guy out there, whoever's throwing that night. Keep us in it. If I'm struggling that day, hey man, keep going, keep grinding. We're gonna get you through this. We're gonna get you a W. And it says a lot because he's a big offensive guy too. So for him to go in there and defensively and catch a great game and call a great game, it just shows how tremendous of a player he is.
Good tailing fastball to strike out Craig, and as Molina digs in, I'll ask you this, and then we'll let you go. Your manager, Freddie Gonzalez, after I went in and talked to him about you, I said, we're talking to Mike in the fourth inning in today's game. Give me something. Oh, you're not going to get to answer being a left-handed shortstop. Is that true? Were you a kid left-handed shortstop?
Yeah, I was in a small town, so.
Oh, wherever they could put you.
Yeah, I like shortstop. I like the infield. I don't want to be in the outfield.
Well, say there's no score going into the bottom of the 4th inning. Say that. There's no score. Say it.
There's no score going in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Attaboy. Tehran. Joe Kelly back to the hill. Evan Gattis first up. Fly to center. Back in the 1st inning. Braves have left 3, hit into a double play that was nicely turned last inning by Descalso and Craig. And off we go. 3 singles, that's it for Atlanta. A double for the Cardinals. The only hitting, and that's Descalso. Waits for it. Gets his guy. 1 out. On behalf of Major League Baseball, we salute all of Cooperstown, New York on its Hall of Fame weekend and offer congratulations to this year's award winners, the 2013 National Baseball Hall of Fame inductees and their families. I know you've been there. You've been to Cooperstown, right?
I have been there. Played in the Hall of Fame game back when they did. And actually taken my older son out there, 12-year-old baseball team, in a couple weeks. Be out there sleeping in the barracks, Joe.
Wow, that's great.
Roughing it.
Well, now nobody on. The batter is McCann, who reached down and flipped a single into right. Takes a strike. I think it's the greatest thing that you have to really make an effort to get to Cooperstown, New York. If you want to see it, you got to make a pilgrimage to that area of New York, and it's worth every second of the trip. 1 out, nobody on. A ball and a strike on McCann with Ugla on deck. Field for the Cardinals, playing McCann to pull, and he gets under one into shallow left center field. John Jay. He hasn't made an error in 242 games. He's not going to make one on that. 2 out.
Well, that's one of the things that goes unnoticed when you talk about the Cardinals. We always go offense, and some of the pitching, but defensively, they're the best. I mean, they catch the ball. They don't give away outs. Just a very fundamentally sound team.
2 out. Here's Ugla. Been on a bit of a home run tear, and when you start to look at his production, at least with the home run ball, he's been 20 or more in 7 of his 8 years in the big leagues. That's the good. The bad is there's a lot of swinging and missing, hitting only .205 at the start of the day. That is up and in, 2-0. Kelly 2 quick outs to start the 4th inning, and a 2-0 pitch is in for a strike. Uggla 229 home runs, which is the most as a second baseman through 8 years. Former Marlin waits for a 2-1. This is where he looks to crush something, and now it's 2-2. Most home runs as a second baseman. How about that list? Uggla is on top.
And easily on top there.
Soriano at the back end of that list, 157, is back in a Yankee uniform. Played his first game last night. He's been on a home run tear for the Cubs, and now he's with the Yankees. And there was a report today that Brian Cashman, the GM, was against that trade, but he was overruled, and Soriano's trying to give that offense with all those injuries a lift in New York. That's a 2-out walk. Speaking of the Yankees, let's go to Matt for another game break.
A final score in the Bronx, Joe. Chris Archer has become the 3rd rookie in the last 30 years to beat the Yankees twice at home in the same season. It's his 2nd shutout in his last 3 starts. As for the Yankees, shutout for the 9th time, most since 1997, and we're not even into August yet. Lean times in the Bronx. Joe, back to you.
Yeah, just a 2-hitter, Matt. And for the Yankees, they started the day 7 out. Now they're 8 out behind Tampa Bay, and they just don't lose anymore.
No, you look over the last month, and really Tampa Bay in the American League and your Dodgers in the National League, Joe.
Here's a strike over the inside corner. That's the 3rd complete game for Tampa this week. Tampa Bay's won 21 of their last 24, and they are on top in the AL East. 1 on, 2 out after the walk to Uggla. And an 0-1 count on Chris Johnson, who singled his first time, and he has singled his second. Taking the turn, going to third is Uggla. 1st and 3rd, 2 out. Chris Johnson is over 330 and 2 for 2. Seemed to throw in that trade, Eric, with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and what a role he's filled for Atlanta.
He's really done a nice job. I mean, you're never going to forget Chipper Jones, but he's had a very nice first half and started off well here. And remember, he was a guy that was with the Astros. Arizona picked him up. They thought that they'd use him, help him to get to the postseason. Didn't turn out. As you mentioned, came over in the Upton deal.
Through 86 games, you see the numbers. The production better for Chipper in his final year of a Hall of Fame career. Doubles are even. The average better for Johnson. Chipper just had his number retired here in Atlanta with 1st and 3rd, 2 out. Here's a strike and another chance for Simmons, who fouled out with 2 on, 1 out his first time up.
There you go. You look at that graphic right there. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. That's 0-68.
Kelly's 51st pitch of the day. Andleton Simmons with 1st and 3rd is jammed. Descalso will go to 1st for the out, and the inning is over. We are scoreless through 4. As you look at the state capitol, we go to break. 5th inning rolls in. Bottom part of the order coming up for the Cardinals. 0-0 Atlanta. Flyweight champ Demetrius Johnson puts his title on the line against top contender John Moraga, highlighting a full night of epic fights. Johnson versus Moraga for the World Flyweight Championship. Fox UFC Saturday, live and free tonight at 8 Eastern. Here's David Freese. David Freese, John Jay, Daniel Descalso. We had a chance to visit with Mike Matheny, the Cardinal manager, and we'll give you that after Freese does something to start the fifth. No score. The Cardinals have just one hit. We've been keeping an eye on Andrelton Simmons, the young shortstop for the Braves, who grounded out to end the fourth inning. He's been grabbing at his left side as Freese with a big swing was fooled. 1 ball, 1 strike, and just something to tuck away for later on in this game. He's okay to play defensively here in the fifth, but something's bugging him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Freese popped out his first time, takes a good pitch on the inside corner, strike 2. And here he is going across the bag after grounding out to end the fourth. He'll grab at his side, and then he's been trying to stretch out since he's been out there getting ready for this fifth inning defensively. Here's a 1-2 to Freese. A strikeout is number 3 on the day, and out number 1 here in the fifth inning. Here's Mike Matheny. First question, the obvious about his starter Joe Kelly, and that he's pleased with what he's getting today.
Yeah, very happy with how Joe's been able to stay sharp without getting a lot of work. I mean, he's got such good stuff. I think he's always been in between being a strikeout guy and a sinker guy that puts the ball on the ground. But right now he's finding a good feel for the ball. And
it seems like, and we're not always right about this stuff way up here, but while he's got the great fastball, some of the secondary pitches have been better today.
Yeah, the sliders really come a long ways, and his curveball is actually better. Changeup has been a little bit more effective with left-handed hitters. It's just something that's been a work in progress and something that he's improved very much on.
I know you're happy to have Matt Holliday back in your lineup.
Yeah, especially after you see him with that inside fastball over the left field. But he's just a force on our team. He's a great leader, and we're obviously glad to have him back.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, Joe.
Matt Holliday has the only hit so far for St. Louis. That's how good Tehran has been. John Jay at the plate with a 1 ball, 1 strike count. And now 2-1.
Well, Tehran's been able to get his secondary pitches over. The fastball 92, 93, but the way the Cardinal hitters have offered at it, it feels like 96 or 97.
Here's a 2-1. 2-2. I think for anybody who didn't play the level you played, it's hard to understand how a pitch at 91 or 92 can, I guess, be harder to hit sometimes than something coming in at 97 if it's straight or easier to see.
Well, and a lot of it has to do with the ability to pick it up out of the hand of the pitcher. Some pitchers throw pitches that feel heavier when they hit your bat. I'm not sure the physics of all of that, but I know it does exist.
2-2 pitch. Low 3-2, and after having a sellout crowd here last night, they're either at a sellout here today or close to it. The fans doing the wave here at Turner Field. They're having fun watching a first place Atlanta team with the biggest division lead in baseball at 8.5 games in the NL East. 3-2 into left center. That's the second Cardinal hit of the day. Gaddis will get to it. Jay is going to test him and make it with a double. Gaddis is yelling at himself out in left field with the way he went after it. Jay just took advantage of it.
Well, Jay coming out of the box, I think, had double written all over it, at least in his mind. You see, he's got his head down, and he's hustling like heck down to first. He's not going to pick things up until he's ready to round first. So that tells me right away that he's thinking second from the get-go. Gaddis comes over, and what he does is he opens up. If he's really serious about getting that ball into second, he hustles over and does a spin move. That way he has something behind the throw. I don't think he ever thought Jay was going to go to second.
He did, so it's a second double for the Cardinals in this game, and now it's Descalso in a key spot in that number 8 position, and he goes after a high fastball, strike one. Descalso has hit 3 home runs, driven in 26, and as I mentioned, hitting over 330 since the 12th of May. Overall 269, and he's trying to plate the first run of this afternoon's game. Runner at second, 1 out, the pitcher on deck. Pickoff play at second, and Jay gets back.
Hoping to catch Jay asleep a bit. Had him leaning.
Pretty close. 0-1 the count. Descalso waiting with a runner at second, 1 out. Strike 2. Both pitches have been up. And Descalso's fouled each back, and he's in the hole, 0-2.
Tehran's got to be smart as far as where you throw this next pitch. You've got 2 strikes. You're ahead of the hitter. Descalso and the whole Cardinal team, they get 2 strikes. They spread out a little bit. Think about taking the ball right back up the middle.
Here's the 0-2. That time Tehran did not even look back at John Jay at second base. Focused on the hitter. The count's still 0-2. Tehran had an ERA of over 7 over his first 3 starts of this season, but 262 since. Coming off a good outing at the Mets. The 0-2. Inside corner, struck him out, 2 down. And Descalso did not like the call by the crew chief, Gary Darling.
Set up down the middle. Could go either way. If I'm hitting right there, I don't want that. That's got to be a ball. And you can see, looking from the overhead, that's a couple inches off the plate.
Now Joe Kelly. Maybe not the best athlete on this Cardinal team, but one of them. He takes a pretty good rip and fouls it away, strike 1. Joe 1 for 9 at the plate. And it's up to Kelly to try to give himself and the Cardinals a 5th inning lead. Kelly waits for the 0-1. 0-2. Tehran struck out 2 in the 4th. He could strike out the side here in the 5th inning as he tries to get around that 1-out double. Trying to overthrow on 0-2, and it's high for ball 1. Tehran giving the Braves exactly what they need, considering they have the best ERA with their group in the bullpen. Trying to get through 5. And he's done just that. He has 5 strikeouts, all 5 coming in the last 2 innings. And halfway through it in Atlanta with Tehran, Hayward, Upton coming up. No score in Atlanta. bell is sponsored by the all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. You know what we should do right now, Eric?
I'm waiting.
We should look Fox Sports 1 pitching comparison presented by Fox Sports 1, America's new sports network, coming August 17th. No runs so far, not a lot of hits, and these two young right-handers have been very good.
No, they've both thrown the ball extremely well. Stayed out of trouble for the most part. Kelly's had two chances where he got himself into a bit of a jam, but Andrelton Simmons of the Braves unable to come through in either one of the situations. But both live arms and keeping the offenses off balance.
And they get to face each other right here. Tehran digging in. The debut of Fox Sports 1 August 17th is 3 weeks from today. So mark that down. The birth of a new network. Here is a foul back to the screen, 0-2 on Tehran, who left a couple runners on in the second when he grounded out. And after him, it's Hayward, then Upton, if anybody gets on Freddie Freeman against Joe Kelly. That's strike 3 and out number 1. And the first strikeout of the day for Joe Kelly. So Tehran, who has struck out 5 over the last 2 innings, gets a taste of what that feels like as he goes back to the dugout. Jason Hayward, who flied to left twice, will dig his way in, and you can see first pitch strikes, 14 of 18 for Kelly, and that's a good way to have success against any line.
Well, it really is. And again, one of the questions for me was, how is that week and a half, 2 week layoff going to impact Kelly? Not at all. Looking real strong. 55 pitches up to this point. And he hasn't thrown more than 80 at all in any one game this year.
2-0 the count. Hayward has popped 8 home runs. He went deep last night. There's a strike, 2-1. Had a great June, Jason did. Hit .312, 4 home runs. But all other months of the season, just 160. Seems to get jammed quite a bit as that pitch runs in on his hands, and the count 2-2.
Well, and to his credit, he still played the game hard. And what I mean by that, defensively, he's made some great plays. I've watched him break up double plays and extend innings. And, you know, offensively, when you struggle, it's tough to not let it impact the rest of your game.
Here is Carpenter to his right. Makes a nice play for a guy still learning the position. 2 out. And Hayward's 0 for 3. Upton coming up tomorrow. Landon Donovan and Team USA look to cap off the most successful run in team history as they take on Panama for the top prize in North American soccer. Our coverage begins. Gold Cup final tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern, right here on Fox. So with 2 out, nobody on, here is Upton, who is 1 for 2, and he flies 1 into center. How about the pitching here today? A 3 o'clock start. Both Kelly and Tehran were ready to go. Coming up for St. Louis, Carpenter, Beltran, and Matt Holliday. The 2-3 combo for St. Louis in the 6th inning. We'll try to change it. No score. Today's telecast is sponsored by AT&T, helping you do what you do even better. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy. Join us out here. Top of the order for St. Louis in the 6th inning. Each right-hander's been very good. Teheran has gotten better as the game's gone on. Struck out 5 over the last 2 innings, and here's Matt Carpenter. He's grounded out twice. Once to the right side, once to the left side, and Teheran drops one in for strike 1.
Well, when we talk about secondary pitches, that's a great example. Starts him off with a curveball. He's ahead 0-1. Just awfully tough for the hitters today.
Checked in at the start of the day. Carpenter 5th best in the league, hitting .325. He's number 2 in hits to Gene Segura, who leads the National League with 127 hits, the young shortstop from Milwaukee. Here is a 1-1 pitch to Carpenter. Outside, 2-1.
Yeah, that kid can play over Milwaukee. And, you know, we're talking about deadline deals and what you give up. Remember, Milwaukee acquired Segura from the Angels in the Greinke deal. Greinke now with the Dodgers. What do the Angels have to show for it? Nada.
Nothing. Yeah, definitely in the category of one that got away. If you're the Angels, you think, well, we've got a young infielder, we've got a young infield at the big league level. Maybe that's where we go. But once they didn't re-sign him, talking about Greinke, then that became
a bit more costly. Yeah,
deal.
Really did. Yeah.
Count goes to 3-1 on Carpenter. Beltran to follow, then Holiday. Ken Rosenthal has discarded his sport coat on this warm Saturday in Atlanta as a strike is into Matt Carpenter. And after this next pitch, we'll take you to Ken, who has news about the Yankee captain. Maybe you could touch on what we were talking about with some of the deadline deals and a young guy like Gene Segura. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Carpenter waiting, leading off in the 6th. He strikes out, and that's strikeout number 6. And here's Ken Rosenthal. What's going on with Jeter?
Jeter is going to play tomorrow, Joe, according to Joe Girardi. That's 1 quad strain down. Of course, the Yankees are waiting on the other quad strain.
The birthday boy.
The mysterious quad strain of the birthday boy, Alex Rodriguez. He is supposed to play either a simulated game or a rehab game on Thursday. Now, about deadline deals and what you were saying, it's really interesting. John Mozeliak, the Cardinals general manager, since taking over in October 2007, he has traded only 1 prospect who was considered elite at the time. And that was Brett Wallace, who went in the Matt Holliday trade. Mozeliak does not like to trade their top guys. Now, the Cardinals have a lot of top guys, and that's the key to them.
Here is Simmons making the play on Beltran, 2 out.
But the thing is, Joe, Mozeliak's sitting there. He's got Michael Wacha. He's got Carlos Martinez. He's got Joe Kelly pitching really well today. And he's thinking, do I really need to pay the price for one of the available starting pitchers when the price will be high and when the pitcher I get might not be that much better than what I have? Joe Kelly hasn't thrown a lot of innings this year. Wacha and Martinez can come up in September and spell Shelby Miller. So they may be content simply to stand pat, even though their top 3 right now in the postseason would be Wainwright, Shelby Miller, and Lance Lynn.
Yeah, I get all that, and I'm with you. But if Cliff Lee is out there, and I know you say probably not, but if he's there, the Cardinals would seem to be one of the few organizations that has the young guys to go get them. And I don't know how they couldn't at least kick the tires on the possibility of doing that.
Joe, I am totally with you on that. And you're right. Not only do they have the goods to get him, he has a desire to play there like all players. And he has this 20-team no-trade clause, but they're not on it. And he left them off it because he wants the flexibility to be traded there to St. Louis if indeed the possibility arises.
Big swing by Holiday, the count 2-1. I know in this day and age, Eric, you have to keep the young guys and as many as you can that can play, but you also can't fall in love with your own prospects at the detriment of the big league club.
Well, and remember, they're prospects, and not every prospect pans out. And sure, you're gonna win some and you're gonna lose some, and you're gonna make mistakes. But the point is, you've got all these young guys, and they're there to help the big league club, whether it's in the future or right now through trade.
Our immediate future is the bottom of the 6th inning. And our immediate past is Julia Tehran pitching great. These young guys doing outstanding work on a Saturday in Atlanta. Bottom of the 6th inning. Part of the order coming up for the Braves. No score.
To make it interesting, but Jose Veras retired Brett Lawrie to end it in the 9th. The Astros win for just the 3rd time in their last 15 games. As we get you back out to Joe and Eric in Atlanta.
That's who we are, and that's where we are as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Matt Thanks here is a pitch on the inside corner, and these two pitchers not only have brought good stuff, they're getting a lot of strikes called from home plate umpire Gary Darling, and I love it. On each side, whoever it is, call strikes. First up is Freeman, the count 0-2. The only real way to speed up the game of baseball is for home plate umpires to call strikes. And I know for you as an ex-hitter,
I don't like that.
You don't like that.
No, I don't like that.
You would have adjusted.
Oh, I would have hit lower.
Here is a strikeout to start the 6th inning, and Joe Kelly now has 2. And out number 1.
Well, this pitch out of the zone, a good probably 6 or 7 inches. He's late. It's a tailing fastball. I think that goes with it. Gary Darling having a wide zone today. Hitters realize that. Now right there, Freddie Freeman just got fooled.
Here's Evan Gattis, 0 for 2. He's flied to center, grounded to short, and all this guy has done is hit. Nice burst on the big league scene with, as we said, number 1 among rookies in home runs and RBIs. He missed 24 games with a side injury, and he takes up an in-ball 1.
See, and this is a type of game, if it continues, where there aren't a lot of hits and not a lot of hard hit balls, where I think it favors the Braves. And the reason I say that is because they are a home run hitting team. One pitch, one mistake, boom, they can put it out of the park.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Inside corner. The count 1-1. You talked to Freddie Gonzalez, the manager, 49-year-old, in his 3rd year with the Braves. Spent 4 years with the Marlins. About that very thing. What do you want if you get into the postseason? He said, well, I've been there for 1 game, but he was here as a coach. He's been around the game a long time, and He picked the keep the train moving as opposed to waiting around for the 3-run home run as the count goes to 2-1.
Right, and that's not the type of team he has. He doesn't have a keep the train moving ball club. And again, I'm not so sure. You go two ways. You're going to run into great pitching usually in the postseason, especially if you get in deep in the postseason. Are you going to be able to string 3 and 4 hits together?
Here's a line drive base hit into left center field. Gaddis is on with 1 out here in the 6th.
You know, getting back to that thought, are you going to string 3 or 4 hits together, or are you going to hope the pitcher makes a mistake and you run into one? Hit 1 out. Gaddis at first base right now.
Well, I wanted to bring it up with Freddie, who is one of the most engaging managers that we could talk to in any office, in any clubhouse. And for Freddie, talking to him about replacing the legend that was and is Bobby Cox in the corner of that dugout for the Atlanta Braves. 1 on, 1 out. McCann takes way outside ball 1. You look at those little pennants that are out in left center field. And all the success, the one world championship in 1995 for Bobby Cox. And in Freddie's office, he's got a picture of both Freddie and Bobby Cox together. And he says he talks to Bobby all the time, and his biggest fan as manager of the Braves is Bobby Cox. And I think that says a lot about Bobby, to really embrace the guy that took his spot. 1 on, 1 out, and a pop-up. Left side foul ball, and it will get out of play, strike 1.
Well, and it says a lot about Freddie, that Bobby Cox, who really, you know, the face of this organization for so many years, and he completely supports Freddie Gonzalez, has his back, talks to him all the time, always gives him, you know, whether it's advice or tell him, yeah, you're doing these things right. And Freddie said it meant an awful lot.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 on, 1 out. Joe Kelly has allowed just 5 hits. Checks on Gaddis, who is saying thank you for the attention. He has yet to attempt a stolen base this season.
Not really the catcher you want to try to get your first stolen base against. Yadier Molina, as good as there is.
Number 1 among active catchers in catching potential base stealers. Here's a jam shot foul again. And along with having good stuff, both pitchers have put the ball in really good spots so far today.
Well, a ton of movement, and as you mentioned, they haven't made any type of mistake over the middle part of the plate. I mean, if they're going to miss their location, they've missed off of the plate, they've been on corners. Really haven't seen any type of pitch that's been hung. I remember Kelly threw one to Simmons, but that's been about it.
1 on, 1 out. Runners at first base and a 1-2 pitch. Rip foul.
Well, and this is where McCann thrives. He's got 2 strikes. We talked about it earlier, over 300 with 2 strikes. His first at bat recorded a base hit with 2 strikes.
McCann waits and lifts one into right field, right at Beltran, 2 out. And so with 2 down, the batter will be Dan Uggla. And McCann just proves that it doesn't matter where you put the pitch. Yet again, going down to get it. I mean, there's a lot of coverage on that swing.
You see, he keeps his head on it, gets extension. But even if you hit the ball well in that spot right there, it's not a strike. Difficult to drive the ball there.
Uggla now with 8 home runs over his last 22 games coming in. Had 3 home runs on that recent 7-game trip, and 97 from Joe Kelly. Defensive swing by Uggla, strike 1.
But this is a guy where you can't afford to miss location. I watched him last week. Jake Peavy had an outside location. He left it over the inner half of the plate. Dan Uggla put it in the left field seats. Kelly's got to be awfully careful here. One swing could be a 2-0 ball game.
Here's the 0-1. If your GM career depended on it, Eric Karros, would you trade prospects for Jake Peavy at this point in his career?
Would I trade prospects? If
Big
I'm the
time.
Cardinals, I could give up one guy. I have a chance to win a World Series. If it just means getting to the playoffs, no, I do not go out and get Jake Peavy. If I think that's the difference between going deep in the postseason and winning a World Series and not, then I do.
Strike two. But I'm asking your opinion. Do you think Peavy is the guy to make that big of a difference in a rotation at this point with his injury history?
Peavy would fit in very nicely on this Cardinal staff. I'd say that. I don't know, because he can fit in behind Wainwright. I don't know that he fills a #1 spot in Atlanta.
1 on, 2 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Ugla, who strikes out looking on a good fastball. 96 from Kelly, and we are scoreless through 6 in Atlanta. Cards coming up. Alan Craig will lead it off back after this from your local Fox station. Turns into a beautiful day here in Atlanta. There are no runs, a total of 7 hits. The Braves have 5 of them. That's how good Tehran and Joe Kelly have been. Julio goes back to work. Fox Sports is proud to team with Feeding America, a nationwide network of food banks that helps feed more than 37 million people in America each year through pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters. Visit feedingamerica.org/Fox Sports to learn how you can fight hunger in your community together. We're Feeding America. Strike 1 to Alan Craig, who is 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout. Julio Tehran had not struck anybody out through 3. He has 6 over the last 3 innings, so he is getting better, if that's possible. Down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, one of the things we talked about, have Alan Craig come up, have the bases empty. In the first at bat, man on second, but they walked him. But the next 2 times to the plate, nobody on.
Craig, even with all the RBIs, not a huge home run guy. He's hit 10 out in front of that pitch, and now he is behind on the count 1-2. It's Craig, Molina, and Freese. The Cardinals, who have 62 wins on the year, Atlanta 58. As these two teams eye the postseason, remember home field advantage in the upcoming World Series resides in the American League after their win in the All-Star game in New York. Here's a 1-2 outside, 2-2.
Take
Red
a look
Sox.
at that there. You see that? The Braves and Cardinals spending a lot of time in first place.
The Red Sox, they're in white there because they're no longer in first place.
You're right.
Here's a 2-2 pitch from Tehran to Alan Craig. In the air to left center field. Gaddis to his left and now back for out number one. And with the bases empty, Yadier Molina will dig his way in. Cardinals came out of that All-Star break and put together a 5-1 homestand. 1-2 of 3 from the Padres, swept Philadelphia. These two clubs, the Cardinals and Braves, will get together for 4 games in St. Louis, August 22nd through the 25th. Here's Molina, homered last night. Here's Johnson to his left, a nice play. 2 out. Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, it's an AL West battle as the division-leading A's host Adrian Beltre and the Rangers, or Adrian Gonzalez and the red-hot Dodgers go to Wrigley to take on the Cubs. These Braves take on Philly. Fox Saturday Baseball begins next week at 3:30 Eastern. How about the A's? They're fun to watch. And there's Bartolo Colon.
Do it every year. You know, the pitching's always there. And, you know, offensively, they don't have a real star.
Strike one on Freeze. See Bartolo Colon, he is on the list of players with links to biogenesis. We already have had one suspension handed down, and it was Ryan Braun taking 65 games and the rest of the year away from the Brewers. Here's the 0-1. We could talk with Kenny Rosenthal for 4 innings about the Alex Rodriguez mess with the New York Yankees. That is playing into one of the great dramas of our time. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out, nobody on, and Tehran brings it to Freeze, who fouls it. Strike 2.
That really, it could be a reality TV show. It's got all the makings of one.
Twitter's involved, radio interviews involved, he said involved. Does he want to play? Does he want to come back? Do the Yankees want him back? Would they rather he just sit out? Do they collect insurance money? Does he get suspended? How long is the suspension if he does? Does he fight it? Does he play during an appeal?
I think you can go 4 innings. Do it.
That's it. I'm done. Tapped. Here's the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Is that about it, Kenny? Did I cover it all?
Joe, I get a headache just thinking about it.
You have to write about it. I can just say 4 sentences and be done with it Saturday to Saturday. I pity you trying to get through all that mess. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 out, nobody on, and a pitch down and in, a full count with John Jay on deck. But Alex does turn 38 today. He's had both hips operated on. And now he is slowed by a quad strain or pull or whatever it may be. The Yankees say he can't play yet. A-Rod says he can't. Crowd is climbing into it. 3-2 pitch, reaching for it, and a ground ball to Ugla. Cardinal attack is quiet. Just 2 hits, no runs. Time to stretch in Atlanta. Braves coming up. It'll be the bottom 3 in their lineup. Johnson, Simmons, Tehran. No score. Just for Men Mustache and Beard, champions of facial hair. And by Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss. Bottom of the 7th inning rolls in. This play Devil went down to Georgia here at Turner Field, and bottom 3 coming up for the Braves. That means Chris Johnson to lead off. He has 2 singles, and now he's got a foul ball for strike 1. The average is terrific. 333, 6 homers, 34 RBIs for, as we said, a guy that was seemingly the add-on in the deal that brought Justin Upton from Arizona to Atlanta. Here's the 0-1. Here's another strike from Joe Kelly and Ken Rosenthal. There's a stat for everything, including average on balls put in play.
Yes, and Chris Johnson has the highest such average in the major leagues, 412. Now, normally, guys, that indicates good luck, that balls are falling for him. But at the same time, Johnson has the 8th highest line drive percentage in the majors, so obviously he's hitting the ball hard. Now, Eric, I'm wondering how you view those stats, and when you played, obviously they did not exist, but how would you have viewed them then?
Well, thank goodness they didn't exist. It just would have confused me. Now, that's not going in the line drive stat right there, Kenny.
It's in the balls in play, and it's bat out of play, 1 out.
No, I think there's something to be said about all that, because if you're high in the line drive thing, it does mean you're hitting the ball hard. And you can have seasons where things just happen to go well for you. Now, if you're having a high average with the balls in play over a 3 or 4 year period, then that is just, you ought to go looking for wallets, because that's just good luck. But you could have a season where things just go right for you. And look, I know looking back, I had years where everything seemed to fall for me. But again, is that trying to knock a guy down because he's lucky?
Here's a line drive base hit into left by Simmons, and if we were looking at him grabbing at his side earlier, I guess he's okay. One of the hardest hit balls of this game, and he's on with 1 out, and the Braves are going to go to their bench.
But we could have used, and I say we, if we're a Braves fan today, could have used a hit, either one of those last 2 at-bats where Simmons came up with runners on. And again, that's been the frustrating part for this Braves ball club. Here it comes up, 1 out, nobody on, and he smokes it, but Braves could have used that in either one of his last 2 at-bats.
Joey Turdoslavich will dig his way in. He's the switch hitter on the bench for the Braves, and he bats with 1 on, 1 out. And Tehran's day is finished, and I don't know that he could have pitched much better. 7 innings, no runs on 2 hits. Both were doubles, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. Freddie Gonzalez is going to try and take advantage of that 1 out hit. Here's a little fly ball into left, and going to get it is Jay. As Holiday didn't even look for it, and it's going to drop in for a double. Second and third, 1 out on a ball that was misplayed in left center field. It looked like Holiday could have caught that easily if he went after it.
Yeah, I think he was looking at Jay the whole time, expecting him to catch it. You can see clearly the way Holiday went after it, he didn't have much of an intention to go after it. Here's Simmons reading it halfway, running the bases the correct way, halfway, and then if they don't catch it, he moves on to third. What's interesting, and Kelly just saying, man, got to have that. Molina wondering what's going on. You know, and the first shot we had was Tehran in the dugout. He wasn't happy about coming out, but now I'm sure he's feeling a little better about the situation.
Here's an intentional pass being handed to Hayward to load him up.
There's Tehran right there.
Not happy for coming out. It goes as a bloop double on a ball that should have easily been caught in left center field, but for some reason, evidently Holiday thought that Jay was shading toward left center, but that was Holiday's ball all the way, and you can see from the reactions of Joe Kelly and Yadier Molina, they were shocked to look up and see that ball fall in for a double.
Well, and remember, this is Holiday's first day back from the disabled list. He hadn't been out there for a while. But again, no excuse for that not being caught.
Justin Upton will bat with the bases loaded May 17th at the Brewers. Hit the 3rd grand slam of his career in the 6th inning. And that came, I believe, off Paco Rodriguez. Said Brewers, but Dodgers. Upton had 5 RBIs. The Braves won that game 8-5. And Mike Matheny's going to go to the mound. And Joe Kelly, with as well as he's pitched here today, is done in by his defense. And he's going to leave as the Cardinals make a double switch. They're going to bring in Manus, who's been a double play machine. Kelly is gone in the 7th. Braves threatening, bases loaded, 1 out. Ground ball, double play ball to Kozma. Out at second and out at first. On the first pitch, Seth Manus, who has induced more double plays than any reliever in the National League. He's a sinker ball specialist, gets the 11th turn behind him. And in a double switch, it was Kozma who started it. It was Carpenter in the middle. And the double play sends this game, Cards at Braves, scoreless into the 8th. first pitch thrown by Seth Maness. And for his efforts, Joe Kelly won't get a win, but he won't get a loss because of the double play hit into by Justin Upton that ended the 7th. So now it's the 8th, no score. John Jay facing Avalon, grounds to second. Funny hop, bad throw, and out at first to start the inning. Freeman dug it out and made a very good play on that low throw from Ugla to start the 8th.
Well, what was really especially nice is not only does he pick it, but this is a situation, too, as a first baseman, you can't let that ball get behind you, especially this late in the game. You could end up having a runner on second. Freeman, a nice job. Starting low, comes up, makes a nice pick.
And Ugla's bailed out.
He's excited about that.
So 1 out, nobody on for Descalso, who's 0 for 2. Shows bunt, takes a strike. Avalon has been great. The only left-hander in the bullpen for the Atlanta Braves. But he's got great stuff. You see the ERA. This is game number 47. That bounces in, a ball and a strike. The Braves lost Johnny Venters and Eric O'Flaherty early, both with elbow operations in April. Because of that, Avalon is the last man standing out there. And if the Braves are going to add anything to what is the best bullpen ERA-wise in the big leagues, it may be another left-hander, but those are hard to find. 1-1 pitch, strike 2. Jordan Walden, who worked a perfect 8th inning last night, getting ready here in the 8th. Here's a 1-2. Shattered bat. Easy play for Ugla to his left. 2 out. We'll give you our Domino's game summary. Oh, yes, we did. Domino's. Julio Teheran with his 7 innings, not happy to come out after his 7. Joe Kelly right there behind him. No runs yet. Runners in scoring position, each side hitless.
Well, you saw that 0 for 7, both clubs combined with runners in scoring position. The biggest 0 for Justin Upton in the last inning. Bases loaded, comes up and hits into a double play.
On the first pitch, here's Cosma, strike 1.
On the first pitch. Just hate, as a hitter, you feel aggressive, the bases are loaded, you want to go up and do something. You know, sometimes you lose that discipline. You don't have that patience, and that's what Justin Upton ran into.
With 2 out, nobody on, first at bat for Cosma, who took over in the double switch. He started that double play, batting in the 9 spot. Just to finish that, Freeze is out of the game. That's where the pitcher spot is now hitting in the 6th position. David Freeze 0 for 3 while he was in there. Cosma waits for a 1-1. Now 1-2. Hitting .243 is Cosma. The Cardinals get Trevor Rosenthal loose in their bullpen. But he has just started to get warm, and looks like Maness will go back out there. It'll be Freeman, Gaddis, and McCann. 2 left-handers in there, even though the Cardinals have 3 left-handers available in their bullpen. Here's a 1-2. Bounces in. Cardinals just recalled Mark Zipchinski. He joins Kevin Segrist, who's been very good, the rookie left-hander, and Randy Choate. The 2-2 pitch. Full count with Matt Carpenter on deck. Cosma with a count full. Strikes out over the inside corner, and the left-hander does his usual work. Avalon goes 1-2-3 in the 8th. Now the Braves are coming up. Part of the order will bat. Cards and Braves, no score. Taco Bell is sponsored by Ace, the helpful place, and by the all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Time for the Just for Men Mustache and Beard Play Like a Champ profile. And we profile the great Chipper Jones. 19 years with Atlanta. 303 career average, 468 home runs. Came up as a shortstop. Settled in at third base, played some outfield, 8-time All-Star, MVP in 1999, and his number 10 retired by Atlanta. A fixture in the middle of the lineup for Bobby Cox and these fans in Atlanta. Just like they hope Freddie Freeman will be. He leads it off against a new pitcher, Randy Choate. So Choate was up earlier. And as I mentioned, one of 3 left-handers in the bullpen for Mike Matheny. So with Freeman now and McCann waiting after Gaddis, time to use one of them. Choate has been very good. Year 1 of a 3-year deal for St. Louis. That skips in, a ball and a strike.
Well, Mike Matheny telling us beforehand, Choate really the left-handed specialist. He's the one that's going to face specifically the left-handed hitters, Segrist and Sepchinski, those guys. He's not afraid to use those against lefties or righties.
Choate's 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball is out of the strike zone, 2-1. A tantalizing curveball from the lefty Choate to Freeman, who's popped 11 home runs and started the day 7th in the league with 65 RBIs. He can say he was an all-star in 2013. That's inside. The count 3-1.
See, that's a man right there that presents some problems for Mike Matheny, because regardless of what Freeman does he go with the matchup Choate versus Gaddis? A left-handed pitcher against a power-hitting right-handed rookie.
He's got Rosenthal in his bullpen. 3-1 pitch is inside, a leadoff walk.
Pretty good pitch right there, but Gary Darling does not give Choate the call there. See this ball in the inner part.
Freeman is on, and Gaddis digs in.
Off the plate. It's the right call.
Matheny will stick with Randy Choate.
They're hoping for a ground ball right here. If you're the hitter, Gaddis, you got to make the ball be up in the zone. Against a left-handed pitcher, you're thinking more right center field. Stay on it.
The first to Gaddis is outside, ball one.
You know what'll be interesting, Gaddis is really a pull hitter, a guy that just gets on top of the plate, yanks and yanks. Choate, again with the fastball, will run away. He's going to stay away.
The Cardinals made the double switch. They moved Descalso from short to third. Gaddis down to get it, fouled it away, strike one. So it's Descalso at third, Cosma at short. And probably the best defensive left side of their infield that they can put out there, as they are looking for their third double play of this game. Gaddis is looking for the big hit. He's 1 for 3 in this game. Dealing with the left-handed specialist, Randy Choate. Strike two. For those of you watching Washington leading the Mets, they're in a rain delay, and we welcome you to Atlanta. They're in the 8th inning in that game. They're in the 8th inning. We are in this game. Well pitched, Joe Kelly and Julio Teheran, the starters in this one. Both are out of the ball game. Obviously no score, as you can see on the Fox box. A leadoff walk by Choate to Freddie Freeman, and now a 1-2 count on Evan Gaddis. And a strikeout for out number one, and isn't that typical baseball? You bring in Choate to get the lefty, he walks the left-hander, and then he strikes out one of the bigger threats in this lineup, Evan Gaddis, the right-hander, for out number one.
Well, he does a really nice job, too, of going after him. He stays away in all the pitches. And again, Gaddis not making the adjustment. That the breaking ball gets over the plate, but everything on the outer half of the plate, Gaddis wasn't able to make the adjustment and put the ball in play.
This would probably be it for Choate, with McCann at the plate. A little fly ball into center field. Jay will not get there. A base hit, 2 on, 1 out. So Choate comes in and doesn't get either left-handed batter. And now with Ugla coming up, we expect to see Matheny pop out of that dugout. And this base hit will chase Randy Choate, who's shaking his head after a walk and a single in the inning. Matheny will go to the pen. We saw Rosenthal getting loose earlier. The young right-hander, the hard-throwing right-hander. 2 on, 1 out for the Braves in the 8th. Out, no score, 8th inning, and Trevor Rosenthal takes over. He leads the team in appearances. Hard throwing right-hander. And he misses with ball 1 to Dan Uggla. That's 96. Rosenthal can touch 100. Uggla can hit him as far as anybody. He's 0 for 2 in this game. He has 21 home runs on the year. Trying to drive home the first run of the day as the count goes to 2-0.
Well, in Rosenthal's last 14 appearances, he's had a strikeout in each of those, and Mike Matheny will take either the ground ball or the strikeout here.
He's second in strikeouts overall among National League relievers. Here comes a 2-0. 2-1.
I'm thinking right there, Dan Uggla, I'm not sure what he was looking at, because that was the 2-0. You get the fastball right down the middle, and I'm not sure you're going to get a better pitch in this at-bat. And that was the one to come out of your shoes, because now you're going to get something on a corner.
2 on, 1 out for Atlanta. That's on the corner, but maybe a bit away, and the count 3-1. And if Uggla got a good pitch on 2-0, he should look for one here on 3-1.
Yeah, Gary Darling earlier in the game had a much more expansive zone. The last couple of innings, it's been a little tighter. You got to come out of your shoes right here if you're Uggla.
He does not. Starts to walk away thinking ball 4, and instead it's a full count.
Yeah, that's not a pitch you can go after. That's a pitcher's pitch right there. 3-2, you got to be sitting on a fastball and just trying to drive it. He throws you something off speed, that's off the plate right there.
2 on, 1 out, 3-2 pitch, struck him out, 2 out. 99 as Rosenthal reared back after getting that 3-1 pitch and struck out Uggla, 2 down.
Rosenthal's not messing around. He's just going to come right at you with fastballs and fastballs. Having a little trouble with location the first 2. That was the best pitch. The 2-0 pitch Dan Uggla did not offer. Got away with the 2-1 pitch, the 3-1, make up it, but all fastballs. As a hitter, you're going up there looking for one thing: fastball, 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 and be ready for it.
And now one of the hottest hitters in baseball, Chris Johnson, digs in, 2 on, 2 out, strike 1. And that got a lot of Molina. He's hobbled around anyway with inflammation in that right knee. And that got him inside that right knee.
The perils of being a catcher, and that's why when you look at what he's doing offensively, you just marvel at it, just because of all the bruises he takes behind the plate.
Here's the 0-1. Outside, a ball and a strike.
Well, the Braves couldn't ask for a better hitter up at the plate. Freddie Freeman, the best with runners in scoring position. This man right here over 300.
And with 2 out at 400. He's got runners at first and second, 2 down. Chris Johnson trying to put Atlanta out in front. Here comes a 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Johnson singled in the second, again in the fourth, grounded out in the seventh. That was all against Joe Kelly. Count in his favor, as it was in the favor of Dan Uggla in the previous at bat. 2-1. Outside, 3-1. Andrelton, Simmons on deck.
Andrelton right on deck. Come up twice with guys on, unable to deliver, but had a base hit his last at bat. But right here, Chris Johnson, 3-1. You're sitting on your fastball. Got to like the location.
Lead runner is Freeman. Trail runner is McCann. That'll load him up.
Went off speed, and that just shows you the respect he has for Johnson and the confidence that Molina and Rosenthal have it going against Simmons right now with the bases loaded.
Simmons has hit twice with men on. In the second inning, had 2 on and fouled out. Again in the 4th inning, he grounded out with 2 men aboard. And now he bats in a scoreless game in the 8th inning. Bases loaded, 2 out, ball 1, and the only question would be for the Cardinals and Rosenthal is control. No place to put Simmons, who's up on the count 1-0.
Well, and right now with Simmons, you don't have to be so fine. And granted, he's run into the ball a couple times this year. He's got 11 home runs. He did hit the ball hard his last time, but there's another factor right now. There's that pressure. There's that I've got to drive him in. It's a 0-0 ball game. I haven't come through in 2 at-bats. And all those things are going through your head as a hitter. You can remove that, you have a chance to succeed.
One and 0 the count, bases loaded, 2 out. Strike 1. Simmons is driven in 35. Trying to come up with a key hit here in the 8th. With the bases loaded, he takes outside, 2-1. That's into left center field. It will get down. 1 run scores. Here comes McCann, 2-0 Atlanta on a 2-out bases loaded double by Andrelton Simmons.
Simmons and the Braves finally able to come through. His pitch out over the plate. He's looking for it. Drives it to left center. Able to exhale once he gets down to first base. Heads on into second.
Now it's Costanza coming off the bench. Jose is batting for Avalon, who would be the winner. And this game will be in the lap of Craig Kimbrell, who has saved his last 19 chances, and he's been virtually unhittable.
Well, he's been unhittable, but he's going to have to earn his save today. He goes against the top of the Cardinal lineup in the 9th inning.
Those 2 runs charged to Choate, who could not get the left-handed batters. Freeman walked to start the inning. A hit by McCann chased Choate. Rosenthal got a strikeout, walked Chris Johnson, and Simmons got him with a 2-out, 2-run double. That strikeout ends the inning, but the Braves get the first runs of the game. Knocked in by the young shortstop from Curacao. 9th inning rolls in. Kimbrell will take over. One of the best in the game. 2-0 Atlanta. 0-68 with runners in scoring position, delivers with 2 out and the bases loaded. The count in his favor, and the 2 runs he drove in, the only runs of the day. He's at short, and on the mound with Costanza in left field, it's Craig Kimbrell. Game number 40. Matt Carpenter first up. Ball 1 down and in. As far as all-time records, Kimbrell is number 1, striking out 44% of batters faced. Not a big guy in height, but he's got a lot of velocity, and there are some who have compared him to a guy like Billy Wagner physically, a right-handed Billy Wagner with big legs and a guy that gets a lot of drive on that fastball.
Well, you mentioned he gets a lot of power from his legs. You look back many years ago, Hall of Famer Tom Seaver, drive with his legs, and that's what Kimbrell, it seems like he's all legs.
Here's his 1-1 to Carpenter. Strike 2.
And you can say what you want about legs, but when you throw a breaking ball like that at 84, that's just nasty. You can see just powerful drives with those legs, and they're 2 tree trunks. Got a live fastball, and then you drop that on you, and as a hitter, you're just going, good, jeez, this is not fun.
Carpenter, then Beltran, then Holiday. 2-0 Atlanta. Kimbrell trying to keep it that way, and he strikes out Carpenter to start the 9th.
Well, continuing in his pattern of striking out hitters, gets a very good one in Matt Carpenter. And again, as a hitter, you just got to go up there. You're looking for one pitch in one spot. Hopefully he leaves it there and you can hit it. You can't go up there and try and defend everything with Kimbrell.
Beltran now with 1 out takes a strike over the inside corner. Carlos 0 for 3. His average at .296. Kimbrell looking for the save. He gets a chopper left side. Tough play. Johnson on the run for out number 2. Good play by Chris Johnson for the 2nd out of the 9th inning.
Yeah, real nice defensive play. The Braves have played well out there in the field today. Johnson coming in on the run. It's a left-handed hitting Beltran.
Craig Kimbrell looking for save number 30. And after this play, he is 2/3 of the way through the 9th. It's Matt Holiday in his way. Matt 1 for 3 in this game. Crowd standing. Ground ball to second should end it. A brilliantly pitched game by the Braves, and they win it 2-0 as Kimbrell gets his 30th save of the season. Simmons wins it with a 2-out. Bases